Who has the best YouTube channel? You, of course. Hello, my fabulous denizens. Here we go with another former network executive reaction. It's no secret that I'm a Star Trek fan. I went to the Star Trek convention that was held in Toronto at the Royal York Hotel back in 1976. Well, Shatner and Nimoy were not there. James Doohan, Walter Koenig, and DC Fontana, among others, were. And as a bonus, I got to meet Harlan Ellison, one of my favorite science fiction writers. It was a very exciting event. What hasn't been exciting has been the ongoing debacle that is our cherished property at the hands of those who shall not be named. I did a video on Star Trek Discovery from an executive in charge of production perspective, too much yammering and not enough pulpy science fiction, and it made me wonder, how does one solve the problem of Star Trek now that it has been kidnapped by social justice warriors and diversity, inclusion, and equity hall monitors? I haven't seen any of Picard, but I understand that property suffers also. I mean, it's mixed. Some people love it. Though, it has been just announced that the entire cast of Next Generation will be joining Picard in Season 3 at the home for aging Star Trek actors who are doing this only for the money. And now, there is the upcoming Strange New Worlds. Trailers have been squeezed out of Paramount's orifice, and there are both hints of good and bad. The show looks like toss. Pike has already been established on Discovery and wasn't vomit-inducing. The master trailer looked great. Actually, bright, colorful, lots of off-ship action. It felt like Trek. The mini-trailers were a mixed bag and gave hints of shit I would prefer not to see, but it's not my show, and the success of it will not be based on my feelings. Rebecca Romijn as Una, I just plain loved. Well, I love Rebecca. She looked the part of number one, and no amount of sticking Rebecca in that ugly uniform reduces her hotness. I know the SJW New World Order is to make all women look like men, but you could put Rebecca in a baseball mascot outfit and she'd still look great. In the Spock trailer, we got a screaming Spock and a kissing Spock, which I'm pretty sure is from a revisit to the Spock Gets Horny Amok Time prequel. For Christ's sakes, we don't tune into Spock to see him tickling tonsils. Relax, Paul. The Nurse Chapel trailer, oh God. Was that Spock pining for her? Weak men, strong women. Then there was Ortega's mini trailer. I was surprised that the producers decided they wanted to borrow that old sitcom trope of a smart-ass Latinx. Maybe they were modeling her after Conchita Ferrell from 2.5 Men. Overall, my verdict is more than promising. And as a network executive, my only job is not good. With that out of the way, I wanted to share with you the kind of Trek I've always wanted to see and haven't seen it to date. It's easy to complain about it from the sidelines. I'm not that kind of man. Sorry, enlarged prostate sufferer that can't sit through a 3-hour movie person. But let's go through what are the challenges to making a good Trek. 1, TOS was of its time. It was a great ride. It set the canon, but we don't want to crib its style or melodrama. 2, so far, every Trek has had to deal with one gigantic albatross, and that is the Enterprise itself, or some monstrous facsimile. Every Trek has had a starship, or in the case of DS9, a space station. They had hundreds and hundreds of people. The sets had to be huge, and they had to feel populated. The bridge on Discovery is just ridiculously large. Do you know how many condo units you could fit in the Discovery's bridge? They would make a killing. This also restricted space battles to ponderous battleship maneuvering. 3, the field of dog shit that the Abrams movies and Discovery producers have left for us to step through. Is there any canon in there to pick over, or do we just leave it alone? There is going to be an expectation of some kind of diversity. Look, we're never going to get away with another male triumvirate of Kirk, Spock, and Bones because it was joyous, emotional, showed what real friendship under fire was, and there's no way we'd want that again. Being inspired by the Wrath of Khan movie, the excellent smaller scale Mandalorian, the fun Firefly, and to some degree the fan-created Star Trek Renegades, I can't see why there couldn't be one series that featured a smaller ship with a smaller crew. Their mission: Starfleet has asked them to investigate all of Kirk's Enterprise's encounters to see how well the Prime Directive was managed, where the Prime Directive was compromised. Did it adversely affect anything? Revisit off-limit planets. There was a hint of this in another fan trek called Of Gods and Men, which revisited the Charlie Evans character from the Charlie X episode with mixed results. And I really liked the Wrath of Khan callback movie. It was, ever since then, I thought, why can't we do some anthropology on these events? Let's call this small-scale trek TOS Revisited. What happened to the Hortas on Janus 6? Are they working with the miners? What happened to the injured one they fixed with concrete? What new stories will we find on Janus 6? I'm not telling. The show could revisit even the weirdest episodes. Who mourns for Adonis? Visiting the planet where Mud was imprisoned. Tribbles, anyone? The aliens from the Menagerie. Pike, well, would be dead by then, of course, but who doesn't want to see those bulging forehead veins again? Shore leave. The planet was designated out of bounds, but what's happened to it since? The Squire of Gothos. Could something be done with that? The Doomsday Machine, where our crew encounters a small fragment from the giant planet-eating worm, only to accidentally re-energize it. Oops. How are things going on Triskelion? Is the Tholian web still around? What happened to the Nazis from Patterns of Force? Anyway, you get my drift. I think the episodes could be one-offs or maybe take 2 or 3 to resolve, but not the mind-numbing, bloated mystery story arcs from Discovery. And hopefully no multi-dimensional spore, whatever. I would love to see a smaller scale Trek, added to the mix, more personal, more connected to the audience, with a hint of nostalgia, but expanded science fiction. I also think the action could be more hardcore hand-to-hand combat, less phaser. Of course, because the ship is smaller, confrontations in space would be more zippy. Who would crew this vessel? Maybe better leave that to another episode. Anyway, I thought I'd toss that by you all. What would you think of a Starfly or a Fire Trek? Maybe someone has already pitched this idea. I look forward to your respectful comments below. Oh, one further note. I love reading your comments, and I pretty much read them all. But if you could please avoid writing essays, that would make it easier on me. Thanks. Till next time, denizens. Be seeing you.